So this is the makerspace. We're calling it Innovation in Informatics, or IN3. A makerspace is a place where it's a community space. People come in, build things, you have an idea, and you make it a reality. And that's what we do here. This is one of our printers. We've got another one in the room that's been on loan from First Playable Productions, a video game company in Troy. And this is where we produce a significant number of the 3D printing prosthetic hands, as well as other kinds of projects. But we've been most recently working with Google to help have the hands produced in a larger scale so that we can impact and affect more people. So we have somebody who used to adjunct in the informatics department, Luis Albany. He's an open source expert, does a lot with medical visualization, very, very knowledgeable person. He ended up leaving this area to take a job down in New York City with Google, and he's helped facilitate a lot of the project down there. So Google has a policy where employees can spend 20% of their time working on a project of their choosing, that they're passionate about. And a number of folks are volunteering to help with this project, and they're at the moment they're helping with the producing that. The 3D printing takes a very long time. There's only so much that we're able to generate and print in this current space. They're helping us scale it, to be able to do it on a larger scale. At the same time, they're helping with the innovation, to be able to see what can we do from what other types of technologies, how can we improve the designs, what can we do, what kind of wearable technologies can be done using these. So as part of that design innovation process, we're working with them on that front as well. So this is part of the E-Nable project. E-Nable is a community of volunteers across the country. So we're working as part of that community, as part of the E-Nable community. We started last semester in the fall we all got together over Professor Goodall's home, and with a very small, much smaller than this big demo hand. And we had the prints, and we wanted to basically see if we could do it. We printed out a 3D model. We got together, we assembled it, and that was kind of our first proof of concept. And we kind of treat that like a company that has their first dollar that they make in sales. We have it in a glass case somewhere, the very first prototype hand that we've put together. And we've since got a lot better at doing it. And so we started it, partway into last semester, and then really gained a lot of traction. So over Christmas, we got 4 kids' hands for Christmas morning, and we've been trying to grow it, do more on the design side, get better about customizing them, be able to affect more people with different types of issues. So basically improve the process and scale the process. So most of these models work by having to have a functional wrist. And if you bend the wrist and it causes a grip, it causes that gripping motion, grip and release. Now that works for a lot of folks. It works for a lot of common types of birth defects, but it doesn't work for everybody. Some people don't have a wrist to be able to bend, which then they might need an elbow-powered, shoulder-powered, or another type of device. Some folks, are missing, their arm. We had somebody who we were talking to in class today who's going to be a future client of one of our devices, who has a complete hand, completely intact, but is not able to bend from a motorcycle accident and not able to bend to really use much of the hand.
I had debridements, so they cut all your muscles, tendons, ligaments into your hand, so you don't have the control anymore of your fingers. This is all I can do. I can't actually pick up or anything. You have no power to grasp.
So it's a very different type of circumstances. Rapid prototyping, 3D printing, a lot of these technologies are enabling a lot of customization that was not feasible on some sort of smaller scale before. So now the technologies have enabled folks to get involved and make things that are going to help folks that they wouldn't otherwise been able to do.
It'd make a lot of difference. Just to even be able to hold a cup of coffee, comb your hair, tie your shoes. Makes a big difference when you only have the one hand. It seems everything was made for right-handed people. When you use left-handed stuff, you gotta get special scissors and everything else. Today's my first day and everything's been great. Everybody has a lot of input. They seem very excited to work with me and very excited to work with them. It's going to turn out very well. Have your attendant thing on the back side to pull it open instead of reversing, like you have your attendants to pull it closed. Have a spring holding it closed, and then you pull the tension. I've told them, like, they're going to think about designing a special glove to bend your hands. I had told them that if you do that, I'd probably need it heated. You should have no circulation in your hands to keep your hand warm. So anything under 60 degrees, your hands ice cold. So if they could put heat in with it, would be great. That's something they think they could. There's a lot of benefit to it, going to benefit a lot of people. It's really going to help. It's amazing things they can do. It's unbelievable what they can do with this.
I actually heard about this project before we full-on started doing it. It was an idea from Professor Muckle last year. We had a meeting because I'm the vice president of the Association for Computing Machinery on campus. And Professor Muckle brought it up as an idea. And I was actually one of the first people he asked to go and do it. So we ran to Professor Goodall's house as soon as everyone that wanted to do it was like, this sounds amazing. And
we have class together.
From there, it's just expanded into this.
So really love working with students as part of the educational experience. I'm a big fan, and it's really a philosophy of the department to be able to make things real, right? How is the technology going to be applied in the real world? How is it going to be usable in the real world? Bringing in somebody who's going to benefit from some sort of assistive device, like one of these hands, it changes the whole dynamic in the classroom in terms of the students understanding that this is not just some sort of abstract concept. This is something real. This is something that helps people. This is a technology that has tremendous amount of impact in the future of the world, right? And so it's great for the learning aspect. And it's also really important, I feel like longer term, as we be able to get more people involved in the project, get more diverse perspectives from individuals from all sorts of backgrounds, students on campus that are thinking of all sorts of creative ideas that the faculty are never going to think of, right? Get the ideas coming from the students and letting them try and test a lot of different approaches. That kind of diversity of thought, I think, is really important, and being able to come for us to be able to not make another one of these, but to come up with the next version that's going to be better.
The first time building a hand was actually my first time working with anything 3D printed. So it took about 4.5 hours of being at the professor's house. So it was pretty rough at first, but after doing it a few times, I've actually gotten the hang of it. So it's gotten easier with time, and now we can put a hand together in like an hour. This project is going to become a staple in the entire University of Albany Informatics department. That's what we're doing.
I think really this is just like in its beginning of infancy, and it's just going to grow from there.
So the Smart Cane, or the IC project, as the students have coined it, is a fairly new project. It's only been going on for about a month or so. It's developed in a course in the physical computing class where we spent half the semester doing rapid-fire learning of some of the fundamentals, electronics, some software embedded programming to control electronics, and some 3D printing. And then open up the second half of the semester for, okay, let's build something in teams that's an assisted device, something that's going to help somebody with disabilities. So that team came up with that project on their own. So it's a fairly new project, it's an early prototype stage. As part of that, though, it's already been sparking a lot of conversations of, one, what technology is already out there that, what have people done? What can we do that's really unique? And we've also acquired through donation a piece of equipment that's actually Google Tango, which enables us to map an indoor space. So we can create a 3D model of a floor of a building, for instance, or a building at the university, and that opens up a ton of applications. Of all right, if you have a model of an indoor space and you have some sort of wearable computing technology, it's not too many steps away from being like, how can you end up allowing somebody who's visually impaired to be able to navigate through that space with because the idea is to eventually say you don't need a cane. You can have something mounted on you that's going to be able to help kind of navigate you through the space.
Amanda took last semester I was her TA, and she was helping. John was helping her with she couldn't see the board obviously, and I think she switched to an informatics major now, so she's in contact with John all the time. And now I think she saw the project. I think John contacted her from the Disability Resource Center, and we contacted them and we were in emails with them, and she heard about the project and she came to visit to help us out, especially.
This is a standard, just walking stick for and this certain actually has a rotatable ball, which means instead of dragging the stick back and forth, you can actually just roll it. And what we're doing is that we're taking this proximity sensor here, and what this does is that it detects objects or distance between the sensor and the object. It can detect up to about 13 feet as far as how wide the cone is of distance where it picks up objects that are not but the whole goal is to attach this to say yay high to the with a casing actually that would hold this. And what it would do is that if somebody was walking, if a blind person was walking with a cane and picked up anything at distance, the speaker here, or we're using this for the sake of prototype, it's a little speaker, it would make a pinging sound that would alert, that would go faster and faster depending on how close an object is picked up with a sensor. The speaker would probably go up here or something because in terms of sound it's not that loud, so we want to make sure that whoever's using it is able to properly hear it for the sake of just prototyping. But the whole idea is that it's just supposed to pick up objects in an easier fashion than just a straight up cane and detect objects that you may not know. And I want to say maybe the distance we're trying to get it ideally for the standard maybe about 8 feet if you're walking at the standard average speed, because you don't want to be able to really pick up anything 13 feet away when you'd be picking up something that's maybe 5 feet closer to you. You don't have mixed signals with it. But again, the difficulties come with you don't know how wide the radius is of the sensor, and that becomes a little problem to work with, and also different ideas such as maybe you could put a vibration sensor instead of sound, or maybe you could put multiple sensors, but that's something that is more down the road than what we're trying to actually do. And hopefully it works.
I really enjoy our project, definitely. And in the future, I actually just talked to her. She has issues going for months, and we don't have the proper technology yet to detect how fast, how close something is that quickly just yet, but we're looking to get it working so that somebody can do it.
So the future for this project is to affect as many people as we can. I look at it going beyond this project and going into assistive devices in general. The physical computing class is focused on technology for assistive devices. That's for people with disabilities. So it could be a hand, but it can also be like a smart cane or some sort of indoor navigation for somebody who's blind. It could be something for somebody who has Alzheimer's and you need to be able to find them and they get lost in a crowded supermarket or mall, which has happened to a couple of students, grandparents in the class, and they decided to develop a technology that can help find them and have an early notification if they start wandering off in a public space. Things like that, where right now a lot of those are conceptual or early prototype stage, but there's a lot. I'm a big fan of projects that are going to have a positive social impact, as well as a very dynamic multidisciplinary learning component, and a lot of assistive devices are a big opportunity in that front. It's something that helps people It has a social entrepreneurship angle. It has a potential commercial entrepreneurship angle. It has, benefits the community, gets the community involved, it provides a great learning experience for the students. And so I see it going beyond the hands and using this makerspace as a creative space that's going to be integrated into course curriculum here at the university, and is going to, open up all sorts of new creative applications that are going to affect real people and make a difference. And I kind of an add-on to that is, a lot of times, people are fortunate in a developed country like the United States to be able to have much better access to medical equipment and some sort of enabling technologies. The developed world, that can very often be extremely rare. And as the cost of producing certain things goes down, even if it's not at the level of a medical grade device, I think there's a lot of opportunity to help folks in the developing world that are struggling to just have some of the most primitive types of medical devices.
It's definitely more of a prototype and an idea that it will be. Yeah, it'll be working for the purposes that it's supposed to serve. We're not. The expectation that maybe it'll be more so than it could be with like vibration sensor, maybe like a sound sensor. It's definitely out there as an idea. And but as it stands, we just want to make it known that the technology for something like this idea does exist, and maybe it can be expanded upon later in the future.
So the timeline, it's really tough to say. We've got a lot of projects going on in the class. Part of what it's really looking at is like an incubator, right? Some of the projects will continue, some of them will die off. And it's the ones that have the most potential and make the most sense to prioritize our time are the ones that'll continue. A lot of it's up to the students, because I'm really big into trying to capture as much of the innovation and developments that the students have created prior, and get them to put it in a situation where it's reusable. Someone else can come in, pick up on it, and the project can continue.